So far we've said, in order to create a perfect tense verb, you have to use this pattern. In order to create an imperfect tense, you have to use this pattern. In order to create this type of word, you have to use this pattern. To create this type of word, you have to use this pattern, yeah? This was a lie. You don't have to use this pattern. These patterns aren't the only way to create these types of words, yeah? Another way, another set of patterns that you can use to create these types of words are these patterns. So, we call this first row form 1. And we call this second row form 2. Notice how they are numbered in the Roman way, yeah? So, just like fa'ala is a perfect tense word, any word with the pattern fa'ala is also a perfect tense word. Any word using the pattern of yaf'alu is an imperfect tense verb. And any word using this pattern, yufa'ilu, is also an imperfect tense verb. The only difference is if a word is on a pattern that belongs to a particular scale, you can't jump to another scale to create a different type of word, yeah? So for example, if you have a word that falls on the fa'ala pattern and you want to create the passive participle, you have to use the version that's on its scale. You can't jump to a different scale, yeah? So just like you have mufa'ilun, you come across the word that's on this pattern and you want to create the perfect tense verb, you can't jump to another scale. You have to stick to the patterns that are on its scale, yeah? So remember how I said last time Arabs use chants to help them remember a scale? So last time I chanted the scale for form 1. Remember I said there were some words missing because this is a short version. You can do a similar chant for form 2 to help you remember the scale. And if you can remember the scale, then you can travel along the scale comfortably, yeah? So the chant will go something like فعل يفعل فهو مفعل فعل يفعل فهو مفعل تفعيل فعل لا تفعل, yeah? So you'll notice that the verbal pattern is fixed for form 2, yeah? Remember for form 1 we didn't write a pattern because the patterns differ. With form 2 words the patterns remain the same. Sometimes you'll find that you have two words that have the same root letters but they're on different scales, yeah? So form 1 you might find there's a perfect verb that's fa'ala, and then you'll find there's another perfect tense verb that rhymes with fa'ala, and you'll know that's form 2. The way to recognize form 2 words is that they have this shadda, yeah? This shadda is the giveaway that this belongs on the form 2 scale. So for example, if I have something like kasara, which means he broke, but I might also have kasara, same root letters, but they're on the form 2 pattern. So instead of kasara, it will be kasara. You notice the shadda, which tells us that it belongs on form 2. Yeah, it's still, these are both perfect tense verbs. The only difference is this is created from form 1 and this is created from the form 2 scale, yeah? So the only difference in meaning is that this means he broke, whereas kassara means he shattered. So you can see how they have similar meanings, just one is a more intense version of the other one, yeah? Usually you'll find that words that are in the form 2 scale, they'll either be more intense or they will be creating some kind of cause, like this for example. We have two words with the same root letters, only this one is form 1, darasa. The second one is form 2, darasa. This first one means he studied. The second one means he taught. So you can see the root letters give them a similar kind of theme, but the forms give their final meanings, yeah? So that's just something to keep an eye on, yeah, that you're not forgetting this shadda, because it does change the meaning of words. One final thing to note, just like we said there were inherent doers in these verbs, so right now it's he, and you have to add some suffixes or prefixes to make it you, I, she. You can do the same thing with these verbs as well, yeah? So right now the inherent doer is he, and then you can add prefixes and suffixes to change the doers. So let me go through an example of what I mean. Let's get rid of these first. And let's make this bigger. So remember, in order to change the doer of this, we have to add the ta at the end, yeah, with the different versions. So fa'ala means he did. Whereas if I open up this last letter and I add the tas at the end, I can now say she did, you did, one is male, one is female, and I did, yeah? So you can do the same thing with the perfect tense. But remember the scale too, it needs the shadda. So instead of saying fa'alat, we're now going to say fa'alat, to means she did on this second scale, yeah? Or fa'alta, fa'alti, fa'altu. Likewise, so far we've said that in order to change the doer of this type of verb, you have to change these beginnings, yeah? And we've been through this in another video, that in order to change the beginnings, this is how you do that. So this ta can either mean she is or you are, depending on the context. And then she is doing and I am doing, yeah? So in order for it to fit onto this pattern, we now have to change the vowels around for these words to now fall into form 2. So taf'alu is form 1. To make it form 2, you say tufa'ilu, tufa'ilu, tufa'ilina, and ufa'ilu.